Right. Well, a very good evening to you. Thursday, the 20th of July, 2023. It's that time of the week that many of us prefer the most. It's the 14-day trends. And I think a lot of people have been asking me over the last few days, including the media. Yeah, the media have been in touch, asking me what is going on with these weather patterns and are there changes on the way? And my answer will be revealed very shortly. So let's start off by taking a look at the central England temperature. We're running at 16.3 degrees for July, zero point 0.3 above normal. Unbelievably, we still remain slightly above average, but nowhere near the temperature anomalies that we experienced in flaming June. All a distant memory for now. Right, let's have a look at the reason why. And the reason is, you've guessed it, I love a chart with a jet stream, and this is the one. There it is, firing in from the Atlantic across northern Spain, across southern England and northern France, keeping us in the UK here on the cool side of the jet. All of that heat is being bottled up down in the Mediterranean, being fed from that conveyor of heat off the Tunisian landmass. So this is the jet stream programmed for now. Let's fast forward it a week and doesn't look very good, does it? Much the same. Still that strong jet stream firing in from the west just to the south of us, keeping us on that cool side of the jet. A low pressure over the North Sea, northwesterly breezes, temperatures rather cool. But if we move it towards the start of August, a glimmer of hope, perhaps. That jet stream finally moving back north again, allowing warmer air to start pushing up from continental Europe at the turn of the month. This is still, 11 or 12 days away. It's a tentative sign, maybe just a glimmer of hope on the horizon at the start of next month that things will start to change. We'll come on to all of the detail between now and then to see how it's going to get to it. But we'll come back to the UK this month, and it has been all very average. So these are your weather station. This is a typical weather station in London. So we've had that 29.5. It was that hot weekend a couple of weeks back. Temperatures most days have been in the low 20s, and rainfall, notice this, 32.58. This is in London. A mean temperature so far this month of 18.3. Let's move up to Manchester. They're not very happy with their weather so far this month, and that can be seen. So they've got an average temperature, notice here, of 16.4 compared to London, which is at 18.3. And they've had double the amount of rain so far. So, yeah, 61.5 millimetres of rain in Manchester compared to 32 in London. And you'll see that most days are very close to 20, whereas London's seeing 21s, 22s, 23s. Manchester, typically 20, 21 by day. Let's go further north. Let's go all the way up to Glasgow. And Glasgow, well, the average in Glasgow so far this month, 15.6. That's in contrast to 18.3 in London, 16.4 in Manchester. And over in Glasgow, they've had 86 millimetres of rain compared to 32 in London and 61 in Manchester. So it's all very uniform, this northwest to southeast split. And the reason for it is that we have got low pressure firing away to the north and the west of the UK, moving across the UK at intervals, keeping us in these westerly regimes. Now, let's take a look at the weather for the next few days. So we've had a bit of respite today. There's been some sunshine. There's still been a few showers around, but over the course of the weekend, this is the facts chart for Saturday. A bit of a repeat performance, unfortunately, of what we saw last weekend. Another active area of low pressure pushing across the UK on Saturday. That's where it sits on Sunday. And this is where it sits on Monday. So, three very disturbed, unsettled days. And in fact, with time, what's likely to happen is as that low pressure pushes out into the north, so we're going to actually bring in some really quite cool air for the time of year. So looking for a warm up for now, we're not going to get it. We've got to go through quite an unsettled weekend with rain or showers, and then temperatures will start to cool off for the early part of next week. Right, let's have a look at the icon, or should we say the GFS, for the next 12 or 14 days. It's not going to be raining every single day, but there will be showers around. So I'm not going to dwell too much on any one day, but tomorrow Fed say another bright day with sunny skies and a few afternoon showers. Saturday is the day we bring in this low pressure system, another active area of low pressure, as I've mentioned, pushing across the UK with some strong winds as well. Saturday turns into a bit of a write off. That clears by the end of Saturday, and then Sunday is another day of bright spells, some showers, perhaps some longer spells of rain close to the south coast. By the time we turn into Monday, notice how that area of low pressure now, just sitting to the southern North Sea, starts to turn that air into a northerly direction. More heavy showers, probably some thunderstorms in that on Monday, and then the air turns into the northwest, back to that scenario of sunshine and showers. We get some respite for a couple of days, but another area of low pressure pushes across the middle part of next week. So this is next Thursday, more Atlantic weather systems and breezes. But then look at this. This is by Friday the 28th. There's another little pulse of rain that pushes across the southern parts of the UK towards the end of next week. But then a ridge of high pressure starts to come in. And then notice how those blues, they stop affecting us. So maybe things do start drying up at the end of the month. Things start warming up. Notice how these little colours are starting to turn a little bit a shade of purple. So just some hope that at the end of the month, high pressure will start to push in from the south and finally break us out of this pattern that will, has kept us very average this month. So, in terms of your trends, we can see that really for the next 6, 8, 10 days, temperatures are still in that low 20s bracket, but just around the end of the month, notice there's one or two ensembles starting to poke their heads above the 25-degree parapet. It's not certain at this stage, but there is a little bit more uncertainty. So just the glimmer that there could be a warm up towards the end of the month or going into early August. In terms of the rainfall patterns, so we keep this unsettled theme going. Very wet. We've got a dryish couple of days before the rain comes in at the weekend, but then next week, look at that, really from the 22nd through to the 30th, rain at regular intervals. This is what we're going to have to pay the price for if potentially we are going to turn settled towards the end of the month. Because if we just look into the early part of August, those rainfall spikes do start to fall away somewhat. In terms of winds, I'm going to use Folkestone on the coast. It's a lot clearer, a lot more representative. So light winds at the moment, ramping up again around the 23rd and the 24th over the course of Saturday, Sunday into Monday as that low pressure system pushes by. Another little peak up around about 27th or the 28th in a week's time. That's the other area of low pressure before things all a little bit uncertain thereafter. The breezes sort of still remaining in that moderate category. And there's your pressure patterns. So all fairly uniform. You can see the dip at the end of this week into the weekend with that low pressure. A little bit of a climb early next week, another little dip again around about the 28th, but then just signs, all uncertain, that towards the start of August, pressure starts to push up on a few of those ensembles up towards the 1030 millibar bracket. So that is it in summary. I hope you've all found this forecast useful. Unfortunately, it isn't the summer heat wave pattern that we're looking for. Think this day last year was the 40-degree breaker. We've got a little way to go before we get there yet. But yeah, all the time this pattern is in the Med. We are going to keep this pattern here in the UK. As I say, signs that the Med heat will start to relent towards the end of the month. It could be our turn to just start to bring in the return of some warmer conditions. I hope you've all found it useful. All I'm going to say now is just thanks for watching. Thanks very much. Please continue to like. Please continue to share and subscribe. And as I say, I'll be back again soon with the next forecast. Look after yourselves and ciao for now.